Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. All right, guys, what we're going to talk about on this episode of the Bullet Points is it's crazy town. We had a running candidate for governor in New York just survive an assassination attempt by a guy with a knife, again, in New York. Now, I can almost hear you guys saying, Braden, what's this have to do with the Second Amendment? How does this push our rights forward? Well, the thing about New York is, of course, it's been in the news recently around 2A and gun control, the Brewing case, and all the different carry provisions that they're trying to prohibit everyday citizens from carrying guns for their protection. Legally, by the way. Well, when you look at the would-be assassin here, you'd think, okay, that's kind of crazy, but the fact that he was released hours after this assassination attempt on his own recognizance, he's out there in society. That's the whole point. You think it's a coincidence that crime is rising, that people are protecting their family and adopting the Second Amendment at a rate they never have before from a standpoint of women and minorities. This all ties together and it speaks to something larger, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Everything is linked in the description box below per usual. I would love to have you guys consider subscribing if you are new, but right now I've got to show you guys something that I am so excited about. I recently have been working on something with 9line. Now, if you're familiar with 9line, they make great patriotic apparel. Well, we made a shirt together. I co-designed and co-branded it. Check this out because it is all about constitutional carry. You've got every single state that we got in 2022 up to date in red. You've got a pop culture reference, which is amazing, and we are halfway there. And on the back is the t-shirt, the Constitutional Carry Tour 2022 with the co-branded in all the states with some America backing it up. The link is in the description box below, and I would love for you guys to get this shirt because it is a limited time design, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think in the comments below about it. All right, so check this out. I'm going to show you a clip, and this is tremendously important because you actually see an assassination attempt happen in real time against a Republican congressional candidate, or excuse me, gubernatorial candidate. Here we go. Check this out.
And there's only one option.
All right, so the guy walks up on stage. He has a knife in his hand. He says to the gubernatorial candidate, "You're done," and attempts to stab him in the throat. He gets tackled to the ground. He gets arrested. He is released within a couple of hours of this transgression. Now, if that doesn't speak to the criminal element and the failure of the DA system and the judicial system and the justice system in New York City, I don't know what does. Again, going back to the intro, if you stack that on the fact that they don't want you to have guns to protect yourself, they're trying to make it as hard as possible for you to enjoy your Second Amendment rights, it kind of makes it pretty obvious what's going on, doesn't it? Let me show you the actual article itself. We're going to walk through a few details, but this, I need to hear from you guys on this one in the comments. Alleged, yeah, it's on camera. Alleged Lee Zeldin attempted attacker charged with felony, immediately released just as Congressman predicted. Representative Zeldin took to Twitter to say he believed his suspected attacker would be instantly released under New York's laws, and wouldn't you know it, he was. Now again, if you back out a little bit and look at this from a 30,000 view, is it any surprise that people are adopting the Second Amendment at a greater rate across the board? You just had someone attempt assassination on a sitting representative going for governor of New York and released instantly. What does that mean that the state would release against you? And that's what they're not getting, and that's why it's so important that we defend ourselves through the Second Amendment. But enough of my gabbing, let's keep going. A man who allegedly attacked Representative Lee Zeldin, Republican New York, with a sharp object at a campaign stop in Parenton, New York, Thursday evening was charged with a felony and released from custody within hours of his arrest, the Monroe County Sheriff's Department said. Again, see comments around self-defense. He was arraigned at Parenton Town Court and released on his own recognizance, the Sheriff Department said. Just out, just free. Anybody see any problems with this? Translate it back to everyday Americans. Imagine who they're releasing if it's against normal Americans, not congressional members or gubernatorial candidate members who aren't the protected class. Imagine what that means to you, and that's why this has a direct tie-in to our movement. Check this out, Lee Zeldin. Quote, his words as he tried to stab me a few hours ago were, "You're done." But several attendees, including Esposito from New York, quickly jumped into action and tackled the guy. He tweeted early Friday. Law enforcement was on the scene within minutes. The attacker will likely be instantly released under New York's laws. Ironically, Zeldin was giving a speech about bail reform at a Veterans of Foreign Wars post when the alleged assault happened. There's nothing alleged about it. It's on camera. But that's what we're talking about here. That sets the stage. Now, does that make sense? And does that kind of add some color in between the lines of why, when we had a record-setting amount of guns purchased in 2020, 2021, and 2022, 40% of those were first-time gun buyers. Very large percentages were minorities. Very large percentages were females, all who had not traditionally been first-time gun buyer demographics before. We hit that early on, and we said this is a nightmare for the Democrats because that's one of those two core demographics for them. This is the reason why. Again, take the representative out, the political class person out, and put yourself into that scenario. How would you feel if someone tried to assassinate you or someone that you knew with a knife and you couldn't defend yourself and they were released hours later? This speaks to something bigger than some deranged individual going after a politician. This speaks to the entire corruption of the judicial system in New York. This is why we need to carry our weapons. This is why we need to have a Second Amendment. This is why we defend ourselves and we don't rely on an overbloated nanny state to do it for us, because they are clearly not doing it. And that's what I've got for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments field below, and I cannot wait to hear what you guys think of that shirt, and I will see you tonight at the 9 p.m. segment. I'm Braden. See you later.